Welcome back to Think Outside the Board and another edition of the Crowdfunding Roundup. And in today's episode, I'll be taking a look at board games that launched their crowdfunding campaigns between May 31st and June 6th. And I've got 5 games to take a look at today. I've also got a cool little bit of news, which is that I am going to be a guest on Gaming Rules, Paul Grogan's channel, on July 2nd. He's going to be running a quiz show, and I'll be one of the contestants. So will Paul. He'll have someone else doing the hosting duties, but there'll be a bunch of content creators who are competing on a quiz type show, answering board game related questions. It's going to stream live in Britain time at 8 o'clock on July 2nd. For me, on the West Coast, Los Angeles, Pacific Standard Time, that's going to be noon. And if you're on the East Coast, in the US, that should be streaming around 3 p.m. I'll talk about this more as the date gets closer, but July 2nd, Gaming Rules, live stream, 8 p.m. British Standard Time, noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you all there. Now, I'm going to, in the next bunch of videos for the next few months until I launch my teach and review content, I'm going to be giving the same spiel probably at the start of most of my videos, just for newer viewers who are finding this channel. So if you are a regular viewer and you've heard me talk about this before, I'd encourage you maybe just to jump ahead to the first campaign, which is Biohack. If you are a newer viewer, then I'd like to just quickly talk about this channel. Right now, I do a video once a week that takes a look at my hand-selected picks of crowdfunding campaigns that launched in the previous week. Normally, these videos are intended to come out on a Friday. I've been traveling for my 1-year anniversary with my wife, Kristen, so I'm playing catch-up a little bit. This video, which I'm recording on Wednesday, should be getting posted Thursday, possibly Friday, and then this week's normal video will get posted a couple days late. It'll probably go live around Sunday. Normally these videos go up on Fridays, but from that point, I'll be caught up, and then I'll be doing these videos once a week, and they should be launching on Fridays for the next few months. Behind the scenes, I'm doing some work to get things going, cleaning up our spare bedroom, turning it into a studio space, getting new equipment, and then I'll be relaunching my teach and review videos with better equipment, and everything will look a lot nicer. I'll also be live streaming games before the end of the year, with a focus on solo games, storytelling, legacy, campaign games, and dungeon crawlers, and everything from medium light strategy games to heavy Euros. So all of that is coming in the next year, next 6 months, this year. And if you'd like to stay in the loop, I encourage you to like and subscribe. Also hit the alarm bell, and then you'll get notifications whenever I launch videos and when I launch new content. Somewhere in the future, as that new content gets launched, the new teach and review videos and the live streaming of games, I'll also be launching a Patreon. But for right now, I'm just waiting until there's more content available to do that. And in the meantime, I invite you to enjoy these weekly crowdfunding roundup videos where I take a look at everything that's been on crowdfunding, hand select what I think are the best of the best, and then pass them along to you. It's my way of helping people who are newer to crowdfunding get their feet wet and hopefully target campaigns that are less risky than others. And if you are a regular backer like me, you could use this video series as a tool, and rather than just having to go through Kickstarter every day and looking at all of the updates, you could just use my video series as a quick way of seeing what's been launched and identifying what you might want to back. Let's get started with the first campaign of the week, which is for a game called Biohack. So Biohack had a funding goal here of $10,000. They're currently at $112,000, so they are funded. This campaign is happening, and it is going to conclude, as we can see down here, on June the 30th. Now, let's take a look down here. The publisher is called Yuchi, which is a Japanese publisher. We're going to take a quick look at them because they've been starting to do more work that have elevated them on my radar, and that's why I'm including them this week. This campaign, though, this Biohack campaign, will be delivering in February 2024. That's usually the last piece of information that I give when I'm doing the funding stats. So if we take a look at Biohack over here on Board Game Geek, we can see the publisher here, Yuchi. And this is a Japanese board game publisher. They are probably best known for Aqua Garden and where's their other well-known game? Ostia is fairly well known. And I think, let me just make sure that what I'm saying here is true. So Ostia, the artists on Ostia were Tatsuki Asano and Yurabi Rokinante. Yurabi Rokinante is also the artist of Aqua Garden, and Tatsuki Asano, who was one of the artists on Ostia, is one of the two artists on Biohack. So they have a consistency in the way their games look, as they've been using a lot of the same artists. And if we want to take a look at the publisher over here, we can open up their own tab. This is something I always encourage people to do, and look in their past campaigns. Here's Ostia, there's Aqua Garden. They also launched a expansion campaign for Aqua Garden here. So this is now their 4th campaign on Kickstarter, Biohack. And let's take a look at the video to see what this game looks like. Okay, that gives you a look at what the game looks like and how it plays to some degree. It's a little more of a standard Euro than some of their other games, but I really like this art and graphic design style that they've been developing and featuring in their games. And you know, they are a publisher who have now successfully done several Kickstarters, have gotten some positive reviews for their games, and I thought this one was well worth taking a look at here. Now, in terms of pledges for this, you've got the base game here for 52 bucks. If we want to include shipping on that, let's see here. In the US, it's $20. So because it's coming from Japan, it's a Japanese publisher. If you want to back it as, you know, an American citizen, it's going to be a little more expensive, and we're on the, you know, negative end of the shipping on this one. So this would raise this overall pledge price with shipping to $72. And then you've also got this complete pledge here for $79 with a shipping of $24. That means it's going to be $103 total in the continental US. And that is going to add in metal coins, the flow shell expansion, and another set of stretch goals that are specifically for the complete pledge. So what does that all mean? And let's take a look and see what that is. So if we go through the actual content on the left side of the page here, we can see that they're saying this is a 12% discount over what the MSRP is going to be. Of course, that doesn't account for shipping, but because this is a Japanese company, this is a game that may be hard to find in retail in the US, although they do have group pledges here that retailers could be taking advantage of. All right, let's go down a little bit further and see what are in the various versions of the game here. Okay, what's in the box? So we've got to look at the creature card, the scientist cards, the 20 location cards. And as we saw in the game, this is you're going to have cards in this game, and you're looking to fulfill various goals that will change from game to game. Achievement cards, there's some solo play cards, and then you have all these markers and tokens and achievement tokens, and everything is screen printed. It looks really nice. Turn order tokens, first player tokens, okay. All this stuff is in the main version of the game. And I kind of like the fact that the upgrades aren't specific to the different pledges. Like, you're getting all of the nice screen printed stuff here in the base version of the game. The only thing that really changes when you go to the complete version is that you're getting this expansion right here, Flow Shell, which includes some enhanced tokens, Flow Shell tokens, some more tiles and things. And they also make an effort here for everything to be colorblind friendly. So you can see here it says gene markers are also colorblind friendly with icons on the top. So that way, even if you can't, spot the colors from each other, hopefully the icons on top will help you. So that expansion is coming with the complete pledge here, that Flow Shell expansion, and also the metal coins. And as I mentioned before, it's going to deliver in February 2024. A new Euro from an up-and-coming publisher out of Japan. Now, if we go to the second campaign of the video, this one's over on Gamefound. It is called Micro Architects, and this is from Thistroy Games. Now, Thistroy Games are probably best known for a couple of games called Micro City and Skyline Express. Micro City's been remade before, but Skyline Express is the game that is being re-implemented into Micro Architects. So even though it has the name Micro in it, and it feels like, oh, maybe it's just a themed version of Micro City, it's not true, but they're taking that Micro kind of IP, and they're using the Architects name to pull in Skyline Express and redesign that into this kind of Micro IP now that they have going. And let's take a look at the video here, and then we'll go ahead and look at the pledges. And I think there's at least one add-on. Might just be a player marker, but I think there's at least one add-on.
This is Micro Architects, a 1 to 4 player city building game with an incredible table presence. As city architects, your role is to plan the layout of your city, build landmarks, provide services, manage residents, and deal with random events. Place your buildings wisely and create a mesmerizing micro-metropolis to become the head architect. Keep an eye out for specific patterns, sets, and individual requirements, and score big at the end of each round. Micro Architects includes 2 modules, Residents and Events, which further extend its gameplay, as well as give players the opportunity to modify its complexity level. The game also comes with an incredibly intuitive solo mode, which requires minimal upkeep and provides a serious challenge thanks to various difficulty levels. Micro Architects is a true city building experience, jam-packed with an incredible amount of content, all in a micro box you can take anywhere.
Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. They have a funding goal for this of $21,500. They're currently at $35,000, so this is funded. If we go on the back here, we can see that the campaign will end on June 25th. I forgot to mention at the top that Biohack actually launched on May 31st, as did Micro Architects. So both of these games launched the last day of May. If we want to go ahead and take a look at the pledges of this, the various pledge rates, we've got a base pledge here for $33. If we want to include shipping on this in the continental US, where are we at on this? Okay, so Zone A, which is 15 euros, which we're just going to we'll call 16 bucks. Okay, so that makes this base pledge about 49 bucks. And that's just going to include the base game. Now, if you want to get the all-in, which is also going to include a game mat, then you're looking at a pledge price of $55 plus that $16 or $17 in shipping for a grand total of about $72 total. And then there are a couple of group pledges, one for the base game without the mat, and one for the copy of the game that includes the mat. So there's just really 2 pledges here, though. It just depends whether or not you want to throw in the game mat or not. If we want to take a look down in add-ons, now there is a first player marker. It's the only add-on with this project, and it's $3, but it is for followers of the campaign, meaning if you are following this campaign before it launched, you are getting this first player marker for free. However, if you didn't know about the campaign at the time, you still have the ability to pay for this first player marker and add it onto your pledge for $3. I always like it when campaigns do something like this, because that way, if you heard about it after the fact, you're not punished in the sense that you cannot obtain it. You're just not getting that extra little deal that some people got for being there early and knowing about it ahead of time. And I believe it says here on the pledges, yeah, this campaign is shooting to deliver in February of 2024. So that is Micro Architects, and that is the only campaign of this period that is on Gamefound. The remaining 3 campaigns are going to take us back to Kickstarter, where we're heading now for Stroganov Turukhan. Now, this one is being published by Game Brewer, and I'll come back to them in just a minute because they actually have a membership that you can pay through their website that will reduce the price of pledges for their games. But before we do that, let's just take a look at the regular funding information. So they had a goal here of $32,000. They're currently at $65,000, so this is funded. And this campaign will end on June the 28th. Now, we can look at this over here on Board Game Geek. I like quite a few Game Brewer games, and something to be aware of with this campaign is that this is for an expansion for Stroganov, which is a game that they've kickstarted in the past. And if you're curious, you can always go over here and look at the rating for the game, which is a 7.3, the complexity, which is a 3.28. So to me, that means just short of heavy. I usually consider anything that's a 3.33 or over to be a heavy game. So that means this one would land more in the medium heavy weight. And there are plenty of videos over here if you want to see reviews and gameplay and stuff like that. So I always like that when something is being kickstarted that's existed before and you have a new opportunity to get it with new content. But in cases like that, the game's already been out for a while, so you're not just shooting blind and backing something by a publisher you like. You are backing for something that you know exactly what it is, exactly what that kind of experience is. In Stroganov, if we look down here, we can see that the gameplay is made up of action points, area movement, map addition, point-to-point movement, set collection. There is a solo game, turn order, claim action, and worker placement. So I would say that the main mechanisms in this game are action points and worker placement. Oh, and Game Brewer, right. So if you go to Game Brewer's website, gamebrewer.com, you can sign up for an annual subscription there for $35, and then that will get you a discount off of any of their games that you crowdfund for the next year. Now, if you're doing that, you'll want to subscribe this subscribers only pledge, and then you'll come back, you'll get a discount when you finally do, it's a 25% discount when you finally do complete your pledge in the pledge manager. And look, if you don't have Stroganov and you're doing the big pledge here, which is $119 plus shipping, let me bust out my calculator. So 75% of $119 is $89, which is going to be a $30 savings. And the price of that membership is $35, which means if you are planning on getting the Stroganov Big Box, all you would have to do in the next year is pledge a second campaign by Game Brewer, and you'll definitely see savings. So if this is something that you're thinking of doing, the Stroganov Big Box, I would highly recommend you go over to gamebrewer.com, take a look at their subscription, take a look at their list of games that are coming out in the next year, and see if any of those are interesting to you, if those are things you think you're going to want to back. And if they are, then you will automatically have a savings by doing that membership. If you're someone like me who already owns Stroganov and you're only going to be backing this new expansion with the big box, then your savings aren't going to be so great. So you may not want to do the membership if you don't already have it. But it is an option, and if you like Game Brewer's output and you like the stuff that they're going to be doing over the next year, and you think you're going to be backing more than 2 or 3 things, this will really, really start to pay for itself. Now, this new expansion has 4 different modules that you can put into Stroganov, and let's take a look at the video because I think they outline those pretty well.
Is proud to present the expansion for Stroganov, Turukhan. Turukhan returns to Siberia by adding 4 different game modules you can combine at will to advance your gaming experience. The first module introduces you to the chipmunks, who by themselves are not worth much, but when you encounter a traveling merchant, he will offer you all sorts of riches in exchange for a few furs. The second module introduces hunting plans, where you will advance each time you hunt for a specific type of fur. Once you advance enough on this track, you will find it much easier to fulfill the Tsar's wishes. Module number 3 adds 2 new types of landscape tiles that will improve your strategy. And finally, the diplomacy module will allow you to offer gifts to the local population, which will earn you prestige and allow for solid trade bonds. All this comes packaged in a beautiful big box that includes a new storage system for all the game's components. Embark on a great adventure through the Siberian wilderness in Stroganov, Turukhan. Designed by Andreas Stedding and featuring gorgeous artwork by Maciek Janek. Now on Kickstarter.
Okay, so that is the video for Stroganov Turukhan. And there's essentially 3 pledges in this campaign. There is, well, I mean, beyond this, the subscribers only. But if you're pledging anything and you're a subscriber, you're just going to want to do this, and then you'll figure out in the pledge manager exactly what you're doing, and you'll pay, you know, the difference minus that 25% discount. But if you're not doing that, if you're just getting one of the 3 regular pledges, you're looking at this price, $33 just for the new expansion, which has, as detailed, 4 new modules that you can put in the game, you know, in any way you like. And I think, you know, my take on it is that if you have Stroganov and you really like it, then these modules would be a great way to add in some variability to the game. But it doesn't seem to me that this is going to be something you necessarily need to make it complete. So if you're doing this pledge, $33, shipping in the continental US is going to be £18, which is not insubstantial. That's a big chunk of the game. So that is $19, which means this price here for the expansion is going to end up being $52. Now, if you want to go a little bit further, you can get this upgrade to the big box. So this is going to include that expansion up above, but it's also going to include a larger box that everything can fit into. And I think the difference here is only $5, and that $5 pledge is getting you this whole big box. And I think for that price, that's definitely worth doing if you have the base game and you're getting the expansion. So that's going to be a little bit more in shipping. You're looking at 20 euros for the big box of the upgrade, which is what? $22, which means this pledge is going to be $60, which I think is still, you know, not that much of an increase, over the expansion, and I think is really probably worth your $1. But if you don't have Stroganov and you want to get everything, you want to get the big box with the new expansion, you can do that here. Everything's all included. Again, it's going to be a $22 shipping charge on this one in the continental US, which means you're looking at about $141 for the big box with the base game and the new expansion. And this project's shooting to deliver here in October 2024, so that's actually a year and a half off. So it's going to be a bit of time before this one delivers. All right, that is Stroganov Turukhan, and publisher Game Brewer is a publisher that I really like, and I have a lot of faith in them, and I don't think they're a publisher that you need to be too worried about. You also don't need to be very worried about AEG, huge publisher in the board game space that has a lot of games people are probably familiar with. And they've done this insane campaign here where they're offering 4 different expansions, a new expansion for each one of 4 different IPs that they have that all do very well. This is Cubitos, Space Base, Tiny Towns, and War Chest. And it's a little hard to look at the prices on this one because they've got this a la carte pledge, and then they've got this pledge for all the expansions, one for each of these games, and then they've got this bundle for everything. Now this includes, the base game for all 4 games and all of the previous expansions and all of the new expansions. But there are a lot of other things that you could be doing in this campaign, right? I mean, you could be getting any number of random expansions. You may have some of this stuff, and it may be very kind of random, the things that you need to kind of fill out your collection of some of these games. So I would just refer you at that point back up to this a la carte pledge, for $5, and then you can add on anything you want. And the prices for the various things are all outlined here in the campaign in this graphic, and you can see the prices that you would normally be paying, the MSRP, and you're getting a significant discount here on everything. So most of these games are $45 to $59. They're going to be selling through this campaign for $29 to $39. All of the expansions have been cut, and then they've got these new expansions, and then they've got bundles and things. In fact, look, let's take a look at this. So MSRP, these games, all 4 of these games, this would almost be about $200 here for all 4 of these games. But this pledge right here, this all-in bundle, is $200 on its own. That means you're getting all, 10 expansions essentially for free, although you do have to pay shipping. But I don't think shipping is that much on this campaign. Let's look down here. I think it's actually really cheap. Yeah, so if you're doing the all-in bundle in the continental US, you're paying $16 on the shipping. So that means this is $215 to get all 4 games and 3 to 4 expansions on average per game. This is great value, but the question is, do you want all 4 of these games? Now I can tell you that Cubitos is a dice rolling and pool building game, kind of some engine building. Space Base is also dice rolling with some drafting. Both of those games are designed by John D. Clare. Tiny Towns has pattern building. It's kind of a flip and write. And then War Chest is an abstract war game co-designed by David Thompson. And all of these games are really great in my opinion. I just wanted you to start with some information about everything that's in here and all of the savings and the way it's kind of all outlined for you in this graphic, and the way that, unless you have everything and you're just getting these very specific 4 new expansions, or you want to get everything, if you're anywhere in the middle, you're going to be looking at that a la carte pledge and then just kind of adding in the things that you want that are missing from your collection within whichever of these 4 games that you're interested in. The campaign here, though, had a funding goal of $10,000. They're currently cresting on $300,000, so it's doing very well. And this will conclude on June 16th. Let's see, did we mention this? April 2024. That is the delivery date. And that's the only real downside, I think, to doing this. Whereas if you don't have any of these games and you want to get maximum savings, none of this stuff is going to be coming to you for a year. So you could rush out, buy the base games that are out there, maybe some of the expansions, and then add on the other things, but you're going to be spending more money doing that. But that would give you the games now. This is a great way of getting savings here, getting everything, but it means that you won't have the games in your hand for another year. Let's just take a quick look at the video, though, and see how they outline all of this content.
AEG has gone expansion crazy with our latest campaign, Expansion Extravaganza! We've not only gone crazy on expansions, we're offering these great base games at crazy prices! Space Base, $45. Too high! We're slashing that price to $29! War Chest, $49. Tiny Towns for $49. Let's slash them both to $29! Cubitos with all those dice for $59? Too high! Let's slash that set to $39. But did you know most of those games already have some great expansions? What are those prices doing there? Let's slash them all. But this is an expansion extravaganza. We need more expansions. Space Base Genesis might just be our best expansion yet for this game. Just shuffle in the new cards and play. Let's slash that price to $19. War Chest Nightfall. Poison your opponent's units and send decoy coins into their bag to foil their plans. That's too high. Make it $19. Tiny Towns Architects lets you replace the cottage with an all-new cabin, along with 24 other new buildings and 5 new monuments. But if that wasn't enough, we'll give you stickers to upgrade all of your wooden buildings. Make that $19. And finally, the expansion you've been waiting for, Cubidos Foul Play, adds 2 new dice to the race with pink flamingos and teal pigeons. But that's not all. Get 2 new racetracks, 2 new cards for each of the dice from the base game, and all the extra components you need to make it a 6-player game. All this for the low price of $29. All of these great deals are part of our a la carte pledge, where you can pick and choose any combination of games you want. If you're an AEG fan and you already have all the base games with their expansions, we've got a pledge that lets you get just the 4 new expansions for a steal. You can get all 4 a la carte for $86, but that's not crazy enough. Let's cut this deal even more. Get all 4 games for $69. If you are completely new to AEG or you just love a huge steal, we're giving you the biggest pledge level yet. Everything in this campaign for $199. That's a savings of over $287. Act now. You'll only find these deals during this campaign.
That intro reminds me a lot of the Crazy Eddie videos from New York State from the 80s. Sold a lot of electronics. But I mean, there's so much value in this. It really just depends on whether, you know, all 4 of these games are your style of games and what you have. But I think there's no arguing the amount of value here that's in this campaign. So if we take a look at this, we've got the a la carte, which we already said you're going to pay $5 kind of to get into this. And then you can add on anything that you want. And if we want to look at the shipping, so if you do the a la carte or you do the 4 expansions, you're looking at $8 shipping in the continental US. So it's just going to be $8 more than whatever you add on. If you do this pledge that is just the 4 new expansions, you're looking at $77 in the continental US, shipping included. And if you're doing this massive pledge that is everything, then, as I said at the top, $215, which is phenomenal savings, but it's going to be a year before you get your games. And there is nothing else in this campaign. There aren't like add-ons, like upgraded components or that kind of thing. There is just the games and their expansions, the items that are all listed on this big pledge. So this is the AEG Expansion Extravaganza, and that brings us to our 5th and final campaign of the week. And this is for a game called Sanssouci. And I have some mixed feelings about this campaign because it's by a publisher that I don't really like or trust. And on the other hand, this is a new version of Sanssouci. There was a version in 2013 by Ravensburger that is out of print. And then a couple years ago, Fractal Juegos did a new version, but they don't really service the US. And so Imperial Publishing is doing this campaign really for US backers. But Imperial Publishing is owned by Seth Hyatt, who also owns Mayday Games and Sleeve Kings. And he's been in the middle of a lot of controversy over the years. The one reason I'm including it in this video, though, it is a very well-regarded game, Sanssouci, that is very hard to find in the US, and this is a sort of localized version available for US backers. So if you really like this game, if you want to get this game, it's probably your best way to do it. You just have to decide whether or not you're willing to, you know, back and interact with a company that has some problems. And I would, you know, encourage you to Google around, look up Seth Hyatt, Mayday Games, controversy, see what you find. And if it's a problem for you, don't back it. If it's not, maybe you do want to back it. Let's take a look at this over here, though, because I just want to show you the game over here. So this is designed by Michael Kiesling, who's probably best known for Azul, but he's done a lot of stuff. Let's see his games by rank. So all of the Azul games. We've got Azul Summer Pavilion, but he's also done Heaven and Ale, Tikal. Here's another Azul game, Stained Glass of Sintra. Mexica, Torres, another Azul's Queen's Garden game, Colbaron, The Palaces of Carrera, Maharaja, the game of palace building in India, Paris, Porta Negra, just a lot of great games. Renature, just kind of one classic after another. And Sanssouci is a pretty well-regarded game. However, before we look at the video, I mean, this goes back to the publisher and to Seth Hyatt, me not being a huge fan. So just in his introduction, let's look at the way this reads. Sanssouci is the biggest project we have ever done. We are so happy to be offering this title by Michael Kiesling. You may know that name as he is the very talented and respected designer of Azul and several other top games. Sanssouci has been called the Azul Killer, which isn't true because Sanssouci was originally published in 2013 before Azul came. Normally, you don't have a game killer that existed before the game it's killing. That's not really the way that works. Or Carcassonne, but fun. So he's just taking a slam at Carcassonne. I'm sure lots of people think Carcassonne is very fun. By many gamers reviewers, and we are confident you will love this game. I would be curious to see which many gamers and reviewers describe Sanssouci as being Carcassonne but fun, meaning Carcassonne is not fun. This is just a whole lot of self-promotional, spiel and talk. That's kind of a whole load of bullshit. And it's that used car salesman, snake oil salesman kind of banter, and I'm not a fan. Okay. But you can see, here's a thing by Rado. Not only is Sanssouci one of the greatest tile-laying games of all time, from one of the greatest board game designers of all time, it is going to be at the show in incredibly small quantities. If you are a Michael Kiesling fan, you want to see one of his greatest designers of all time, this might be one of your few chances to do it. So Rado obviously thinks this is a fantastic, amazing game. And again, this is going to be maybe your only chance in the continental US to get Sanssouci anytime soon because the old version is out of print and the newer version published by what's the publisher again? Fractal Wagos is just not being sold in the US. Let's take a look at the video. Before we do though, we can see the funding goal here was only $5,000, which is seems a little bit low, right, to be publishing a game. But I think the reason for this is that they are literally taking this Fractal Wagos version and changing around a few things. There's not a lot of new production work that's going into this. In fact, I mean, they're already at 40,000, right, which is well over this. The campaign's going to end on June 24th. And we can see that their delivery date is August 2023, which is like 2 months out. So I don't see them making this date. This seems super ambitious in a way that's not really just feasible. But it may just be a case that, they're starting with that Fractal Wagos version and the changes they're making to it are very small. Maybe they can even implement it with already made versions by Fractal Wagos and just kind of changing in some new components. And that may be why they have this 3,000 unit limit. Anyway, again, I'm just trying to highlight this because Sanssouci is by a great designer. It's a game of his that's very well regarded. But you have to decide for yourself whether you want to be involving yourself with this publisher. But let's take a look at the video here.
Welcome to Sanssouci Palace in Potsdam. This Rococo-style masterpiece was built in the middle of the 18th century. So now it's time to remodel the palace and design the best garden for it. Take part in this challenge. Use your skills to please the king and various nobles to win this competition and elevate your name. Sanssouci is a pattern building and tile placement family game where you are tasked to present the most beautiful project of the new garden with statues, trees, fountains and other important fixtures. Play action cards to gain garden structure tiles for your project. Usually, you follow the colors or structure types shown on the card to choose your tile. But some cards allow you to pick any tile of your choice from the supply. Choose your card wisely, because you can place the tiles only in certain sectors of your garden project, where both the type of the structure and the row color match. If the corresponding square is already occupied, you must turn over the existing tile to the gardener side and place the new tile on any free square of the same row or color. This is a key part of a winning strategy. You always want to create consecutive routes to score higher points on subsequent plays. Why? Because 9 nobles are watching you and judging your ideas. Show off your garden to a noble by moving their token along one of the walkways to score victory points. Your timing must be impeccable to score as many victory points as possible from all 9 nobles. Check your mission cards to move your nobles wisely and try to complete rows and columns in your garden to earn additional victory points. 2 mini expansions included in the game provide a new experience and additional gameplay options. You can play with both mini expansions together or use only one of them. The reward board will force you to consider new strategies and plan more carefully. It grants you additional rewards or punishes you for placing certain structures or gardener tiles. The wild boar expansion includes an unwanted guest in the garden. Try to move the boar as far as you can and then chase it away from your garden to earn additional points. If you don't effectively chase it off the board, it will thwart your plans at the end of the game. Now, let's see who can design the best garden for Sanssouci Palace.
Okay, so that gives you a look at the game and the gameplay. Obviously, there's pattern building going on, there's tile placement. It reminds me a lot of a game called Alhambra, which is super, super light, super simple. This is obviously a pretty light game as well, but it feels sort of like a gamified version of Alhambra. Now, we can see there's only really one pledge here, which is this Royal Gardener pledge. Down here, like just looking at double pledges or, you know, like a group pledge. But there's only one pledge, which is this $40 pledge, Royal Gardener. And the shipping on this in the US is $6. So $46 all told. And again, they're shooting to deliver this in August of 2023, but I sincerely doubt that'll actually happen. You know, maybe September, October, maybe by Christmas, I think. But who knows? They're saying August. So that wraps the 5 campaigns that I was taking a look at today. As I mentioned at the top, I'm running late, running behind, playing catch up, which means that this video will probably end up getting published Thursday or Friday of this week, and then the actual video for this week will probably get published on Sunday, and then I'll be caught up. And from then on, videos should be getting published on Fridays in the foreseeable future. Now, because I'm so close to shooting the next video, I can tell you what I'm likely going to be including, and that video should be up about 2 to 3 days after this video launches. So the titles that are probably going to be included in the next video include World Breakers, The Indigo Sisterhood, Witchcraft, which is going to be on Gamefound, Burning Banners, Castellans of Valeria, the new Valeria game, Fairies and Magical Creatures, which is the new game by Forbidden Games, and Glenn Drover, who is the designer and publisher of Raccoon Tycoon, Lizard Wizard, and Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. The 10th anniversary edition of Firefly the Game, that one is also on Gamefound. Phantom Epoch, Stalker the board game. Now, Stalker the board game is the next big game by Awakened Realms, who've done like Etherfields and Tainted Grail and Nemesis, ISS Vanguard, and that is the 3rd campaign of the bunch that's on Gamefound. Everything else is on Kickstarter. And then the final campaign here is for a game called Thiefdom, which is by the publisher and designer of Clans of Caledonia. So those are 9 campaigns I'll be covering. That video featuring those should be posting around Sunday of this week. Have a great weekend, play lots of great games, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.